Hello there, my name is Jason Perkins. I'd like to welcome you to another episode in my Georgia Workers' Compensation video series. I'm an attorney who specializes in handling Georgia workers' compensation cases. I created this series of videos so I can provide people who have been hurt at work with helpful information about Georgia workers' compensation and the benefits that they should receive under it. Today I want to talk to you about something that comes up a lot in workers' compensation cases, and that is whether workers' compensation, the insurance company, is going to hire someone to follow you. So insurance companies generally don't just hire people just for the fun of it. Usually if they're hiring someone in a case, it's because they're looking at saving themselves some money. So if they're going to hire a private investigator or someone else to follow you, they're trying to save money. Now, what would they be trying to do? There's kind of two main things that they're potentially looking for. First is they're looking for evidence that you're working when you're receiving workers' compensation benefits for being out of work. The second thing they're looking for is evidence that you are doing more, able to do more physically than you say you can. In other words, you're not as hurt as you're claiming to be. So let's talk about the situation of working and receiving benefits for being out of work first. If this is going on in your case, you probably have something else to worry about. There's laws in Georgia against working while you're receiving workers' compensation benefits for being out of work. If you're receiving workers' compensation benefits for being out of work, you're not supposed to be working. Now, there are some limited exceptions to that. The main exception is for what's called concurrent dissimilar employment, which means if you had more than one job at the time you got hurt, and you had a dissimilar job that you didn't get hurt on, there are some situations where you can continue working that job and still receive workers' compensation benefits for being out of work. Now, you might also, if you're working and making less money on light duty, be entitled to something called temporary partial disability benefits. But other than those limited exceptions, if you're working and receiving workers' compensation benefits for being totally out of work, you probably have a problem. So I'm going to assume that that's not the case. Now let's talk about what happens with the insurance company trying to find evidence that you're able to do more than you really claim that you're able to do. In other words, showing that you can physically do some things that if you were as hurt as you're saying you are, you wouldn't be able to do. Now, how does this come about? Usually it's not because someone's actually able to do more than they're physically claiming they can do. The problem is that with pictures or video, it's often very limited as to what it shows. It doesn't show what you do throughout the whole entire day. It may show a limited period of time. And if you're doing something that maybe is a little bit more than you should be doing, which sometimes you have to do just to get by. So in other words, if you're having to cut your grass or move something that's heavier than maybe you should move, if a private investigator hired by the insurance company gets video or pictures of you doing this, what the judge may see in your workers' compensation case is not what happened afterward, which is that you were laid up in bed for 3 days because you did a little bit more than you should. What the judge is going to see is that 5 minutes of you, lifting something heavy or, working for longer than you should have been. So what can you do to address this problem? Well, the best thing is to make sure that you stay within the recommendations that your doctor has for what you should do. Your workers' compensation doctor probably has recommendations about what your work restrictions should be, or physically what you can do with your injury. If you make sure and stay within those restrictions at all times, then it shouldn't be an issue if the workers' compensation insurance company hires someone to come out and observe you doing things. If you're doing stuff that's within the doctor's restrictions, that's what the doctor's recommended anyway. So it shouldn't be a problem with your case in that situation. Hope you found this information about whether the workers' compensation insurance company will hire someone to follow you helpful. If you have, please let me know that. One of the best ways you can do that is by liking this video or giving it a thumbs up. If you've got more questions about Georgia workers' compensation on this topic or any other topic, I'd be happy to talk to you about your case. You can set up a free consultation with me. There's two easy ways that you can do that. The first is by calling the phone number on the bottom of the screen, and the other is by visiting our website, which is www.perkinslawtalk.com. And you can click on the form there and submit a request to set up a free consultation. I want to thank you again for watching this video today. I'd like to wish you the best of luck as you recover from your injuries.